I think like building community is is an essential thing in any part of the world, like for this industry, because I agree. When you start, then you just kind of start hopping from network to network to network, depending on your skill, depending on what you're trying to do. And there's no like one main resource to kind of look to and think like, all right, this is where I can get like some solid advice. You know, it used to be YouTube when I started. I'm like, all right, what do I do? All right, all that's available is YouTube with random people creating video content and tutorials. This is how I'll begin. Like, I'm sure it was something similar for you when you began, right, Jake?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you never really know where to go for information. I think that all came from doing that free work initially for me, and even rates, just things like that. You know, just rates of understanding how much I should charge for things. People don't like to disclose that information, so trying to understand that there's guide rate cards, but it's so hard. I found in advertising to understand actually what they are, because a lot of those rate cards are for broadcast or they're for TV shows, and it's a totally different game when working in advertising, and actually therefore to try and find more accurate rate cards and things for that were like a real challenge. So that's just one example of why that sort of it's so important to try and help people to understand this stuff from as early as possible within their careers. Otherwise, they end up just shortchanging themselves, and that's not a positive thing for anybody, really.
Yeah. But I feel like when you get those like early jobs with the lower rates, that's like kind of like the time to try things, to learn things, like that's when you build your first initial experience. Like I remember the very first videos we were creating, or like the ones that we were creating was like $150 a video, blanket rate, and that's all we were doing. But I found that like we were doing such random projects that we were able to kind of learn different things quickly, rather than just it's like, all right, I'm going to start charging like a really expensive price right off the bat. You may not get as many jobs in the beginning, and then you won't learn as quickly. I find like in the beginning, like you said, do free work, obviously to an extent, or like really low rate work, so that you can do a lot early on and you can learn quickly. That's the best way to learn. Like do as much as you can, as fast as you can, to learn.
100%, yeah. And understanding different roles as well, is so important. I think you get so many people who finish college or university and they're like, I want to be a director. And that's all they'll do. That's all they'll focus on. But actually understanding, and starting with a runner, then operating, and then working on a bit of production work, and trying things that you would never even think that you may well enjoy is such an important part of that process. And valuing everybody's roles is only going to bring everybody together, and for you to have a better overall understanding of the industry. And I think that's one of the ways that I think you find that people who do so will succeed. I think, you find that people who don't but almost become stubborn, to that. I think, as well as with free work as well, I think you find that the amount of times that I will have the opportunity to give somebody some work experience, and you'll speak to them, and they've never done anything before, and you'll say to them, okay, we've got a fantastic opportunity. We're shooting a car ad for 2 days, and we've hired a private, estate up in York or something over here, and off we go. And the first question they'll ask is, what's the rate? And it's like, you're looking at this all wrong, guys. Like, seriously, of course I would never. So, I mean, even with work experience, I don't not pay anybody. I always think that if at the end of the day they're putting the work in, it's a benefit to me, and therefore you absolutely should be rewarded. And of course you
Yeah.
will, but that can't be your first question. You've got to have something else that you want to think about first. And I think that that's just the way that people go into the industry is such a, it's just such a wrong approach from the get-go. And, you see a lot of that, and I find that a shame, really. And I mean, one of the other things as well is I do a lot of talks in schools, and these are only young, children. Some of them are only 12, 13, and even younger than that. And I can stand there and I can do an hour complete insight into how you use video. Here's all the different ways to use it, the different ways that brands use it. Start being clever about interactive video and using AR, and I'll sort of give them all these inspirational bits of ways of thinking differently. Any questions, anybody? There's a few hands go up in the air. Yep, you. First question will be, how do I become famous? And you're just thinking, oh man, like, this is so wrong. Where is the skill and the passion for doing something that you enjoy gone? And it's just,
It's always going to be like that. It's only a small percentage of people that will see past the superficial and go deeper.
Well, that's like a desire that people have had for decades. This is not something new in terms of like, I want to be famous, right? But the definition of famous has kind of changed in terms of like, what do the younger generations consider to be a famous person? Where like back in the day, we used to think movie stars, that was the famous person. So everybody wanted to be a famous actor. Now
Now it's
everybody wants to
TikTok
be a famous
stars.
YouTuber or TikToker. Yeah, exactly.
No,
Those
social media. Oh, influencer. That's what they would
yeah,
all want to be.
or influencer. But I did hear that now, like the top job that a lot of younger people say they want to be in the future is a YouTuber. That's like one of the highest mentioned dream jobs that a lot of kids now kind of say, which is like that. And that's such a broad term now, especially as well. It's like, you know, you can create a YouTube channel about, you know, like fixing cars. You know, that's a YouTuber right there. You could be, I don't know, like, I don't know what. There's so many. Like, see, that's what I mean. I can't even like think of one off the top of my head that easily.
I think you could just sum it up to they just want to be popular, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, they want to be famous.
Movie stars are just popular people, right?
Exactly.
It's a symptom of society, you know. Something wrong with society when people just want attention.
Attention is the currency. Yeah.
You gotta love your kids, people. Love your kids. Give them attention.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Hug your kids, goddammit.
Yes, it is a real shame when the currency is likes and shares on something rather than actually making a difference. And I think, you know, that has changed massively. I think obviously that's just social media as a whole, I think, which has made us all feel that way. And, you know, I think Instagram as well has a lot to play for people feeling down about things, essentially, unless they're as popular as that person or whatever it might be. You know, it's at the end of the day, the fact that people are continually comparing your behind the scenes with other people's highlights, and those highlights aren't even real highlights, you know, naturally that is going to have some effect on the way that people, you know, want to get on in life and the things that they aim to have and the attention that they constantly crave. And I hope that a lot of people will grow out of that. We'll see.